So they tell us that we shouldn't work with family. They said it won't work, it'll be a disaster, it'll fall apart. But should we be taking that advice? And if we do decide to work with family, how do we avoid the pitfalls? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. My name is Samuel Genus with Predict Your Business, where I help entrepreneurs just like you wear less hats and grow their business in a predictable way. For those of you who know me, you know that I am a big advocate of building a family business, building an empire, creating generational wealth. I'm really big on that. And yet at the same time, I hear a lot of people talk about, hey, you shouldn't do it. It's not going to work. It's too hard. It's going to fall apart. Family can't be trusted. It's too much baggage, blah, 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 blah. Now, I understand, right? I understand why they say that. And they say that because the experiences that they've had were negative. And I don't like it when people have a bad experience and then they tell everybody else, like, hey, don't do it because it's bad. Right? A lot of times they never took the time to learn how to make it successful, how to overcome the challenges. See, and that's what I'm big on. Your why has to be bigger than the challenges you face with your family. Your why has to be big enough. If it's not big enough, then the challenges it'll knock you over and it'll cause you to quit. The first form of advice is that, and I think I just said it, but your why has to be bigger than the challenges. If your why is not bigger than the challenge is going to knock you over. So you got to ask yourself, what is your why? What is your why? Why do you want to have a family business? Because you have to be able to explain the why to your family. You have to also explain it to yourself. I wanted a family business because, one, it will give me the life that I want, but it would also help my children get the lifestyle that they want. It would help me be in a position to help people in my family because everybody in my family is not me. Everybody don't have the same level of opportunities. I want to ensure that my generation, me, my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids have a fighting chance. The way to do that for me is to create something that they can stand on. Create something that they can use. For those of you who's wondering where I'm at, me and my wife is in Miami Beach. We're at the Resident Inn Hotel here in Miami Beach. We're actually on a 2.5-week vacation or workation because I'm also getting some work done. And we're going to be getting on a plane, going to Jamaica, stay there for 8 days. Then we're going to come back to Florida and hang out in Clearwater Beach and just enjoy another, 7 days there. And then we'll head back to Charlotte and then plan the next vacation because that's the lifestyle that I want, baby. But basically, your why has to be big enough, right? Your why has to be big. It has to be huge. Your why can't be individualistic. It has to it has to be bigger than your life. It has to outlive you. I want to create old money, right? It's been around so long that you start calling it old, right? Can you imagine yourself, being able to be at the house and just have a lot of disposable income? Can you imagine yourself being able to help your family and people that you meet? Can you imagine being able to give a job to your children? Can you imagine your children being able to buy their first house in cash rather than being tied down to a 30-year mortgage? Can you imagine? I want them to dream with me. Can you imagine being able to loan money to your family and your relatives when they get in trouble? Can you imagine being able to give a family member a second chance, even though they got locked up and now they're out of jail, they did their time, and nobody else wants to give them a second chance? But can you imagine you being able to give them a second chance? Can you imagine, being able to start a nonprofit organization and be able to fund it and make a huge impact in our community and our society? Can you imagine being able to just go on vacation at the drop of a dime? Can you imagine not having to save for vacation? You just wake up and you're at church. While you're at church, you're like, okay, when we're done, we're going to the Bahamas. And just at the spare of the moment, just be able to do that. That's the kind of stuff. You just wake up one day and it happens to be raining and snowing or whatever. And you're like, I want to go someplace warm. And you just go to the bank, get your stuff, get your money, get your loot, and go to the airport, buy a ticket, and you and your family, you're out. I want you to dream like that. Can you imagine not having to punch in from 9 to 5 for a company, but instead you're punching in your own company? Can you imagine, being in that position? being able to give jobs instead of looking for jobs, right? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So basically, I try to help them dream. I'm like, hey, dream, dream. Can you imagine being able to have lawyers, to retain lawyers, so that when you run into legal issues, when your kids run into legal issues, and being in the African American community, can you imagine having a lawyer that you already retain, a good lawyer? When your kids run into issues with the law, you got a lawyer who will fight for you in court. You know what I mean? And you ain't got to be all stressed out. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having a security team, right? Because you can't be a nation without security. So can you imagine having security? Can you imagine having security guards? Can you imagine security guards with guns? Can you imagine, having a driver, having a chef who cooks for you, who also knows good nutrition? Can you imagine those kind of things? Right? Can you imagine being able to be a blessing to young kids in your own family or in your neighborhood, and you can bring them over the house and they see your lifestyle, and then also recognize that you're a good person, you're a God-fearing person, but you also, you're very down to earth, and you're able to make an impact in your community and your family. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine going to a family reunion and then you're leading the conversation during that family reunion, and you're having a business meeting, or you're having you're vision casting for your entire family, and you're leading the conversation or participating in that conversation, and you're listening to the problems and the pains and the hurts of your cousins, your aunts, your nieces, your nephews, your grandparents, and you're sitting there with your family developing solutions for the family. Can you imagine that? Because that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about building a family business, when I'm talking about building a family empire, when I'm talking about building generational wealth, that's what I'm talking about. And that's a big why. And that why is bigger than any conflict me and my wife can ever have. That why is big enough than any challenge that me and my kids could ever have, right? And so that's the why. I take them to nice places. I take them to different places because I want to show them that, hey, we can do so much more than what we're currently doing, what we're currently experiencing. There's so much more to life than just the neighborhood we grew up in. So here's some practical advice that you can take. After you got your why, after you start to dream, write this stuff down on paper, write it down, write the vision, make it plain, write it down. This is the direction. This is what I want for my family. This is what I want. This is the legacy we want to create. This is what I want for my great grandkids. Let your family know that, hey, this is bigger than me. This is not about me just getting a suit. This is not about just me just getting a nice car and everybody else in my family suffers. No, this is not about me moving into another neighborhood while the rest of my family is living from paycheck to paycheck. No, this is about a vision for the entire family. It's big enough. It's crazy enough, right? It's gigantic. It's humongous. It's bodacious. If that's a word, right? It's bodacious, it's freaking huge. You know what I mean? It almost seems, to be honest, it's impossible, right? It seems impossible, but the reality is it's possible. It's just that at this moment, like, how are we going to do it? And we don't know, right? But that's just what I see. Vision is what you see. Strategy is how you're going to get there. I need to first see something. I need to first see it in my mind. Right? I need to see it in my mind. See, I saw this hotel in my mind before I got here. I saw myself in Miami Beach before I got here. I saw myself in Jamaica before I got here. That's why I got the passport, because I saw myself there. I saw myself traveling. I saw myself going to Africa. I see myself going to Israel. I see myself going to Egypt. I see myself going with my wife, going with my kids, being in California. I already see this. It's already in my head. I see it. And I share what I see with them. And I'm like, please get excited about this stuff. You know what I mean? Get excited about this stuff. And slowly but surely, they begin to see it. They don't see it all completely because, sometimes I'm in the driver's seat, right? But the goal is how do I get them to see what I see? Right? How do I get them to get the why? Right? And this is hard sometimes. Is me and my family completely united? No. I'm not even trying to get united with the rest of the Black community at this moment. So for those of you who like, support Black, support Black, support Black, my first step is to support my wife. It's to just support my family. Like we got to get it together, because if we don't get it together as a family, we're not going to get it together as a community. So my first mission is to have unity in my house. I'm not saying that black unity is not important, white unity is not important, American unity is not important. No, those things are important. But if there's anything that's more important than those, it's the unity of me and my wife, the unity of me, my wife, and my children. And then the unity of, me and my dad, me and my cousins. And so, we need to unify as a family. Because let's be honest, as a family, we got a lot of drama, we got a lot of stuff that we got to deal with, a lot of problems that need to be solved, and we ain't got time to be trying to save the world. I'm trying to save my family, right? And then after I save my family, I now become an example. You get that? I now become an example that other people can look at. When they see me and my wife walking in unity, now they can see that as an example. So for me, it's like, wait, I got to get unity with my family. I got to build family wealth. And then I'm going to bring in my cousins, bring in nieces and nephews, bring in other people within my family, who can help take this to the next level. There's my wife right there. She's reading the book by Elena Cardone called Build an Empire, How to Have It All. Because guess what? No one taught us this stuff. So we're trying to learn. Me and my wife are seeing therapists, talking to other married couples and other entrepreneurs and trying to figure out how to do this because no one taught us. And so we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to work it through. And so I'm simply sharing with you the things that I've learned. And so you have to have a big enough why, and you got to share that why with your family. You got to get them excited about it to the point where it becomes their vision. If they keep saying your vision, your vision, your vision, then that they don't have ownership of it yet. And there's nothing wrong with that at different stages, right? It's going to start off as your vision. And then as you make progress, as they see the success of it, because success is one of the ways you prove, is one of the ways you influence people. Sometimes we try to influence our spouse. That's my next point. Without demonstration, and that becomes hard. Yes, you want to share your why. You want to share your reason. You want a vision. You want to share the vision, but you also have to have some small wins. Your family needs to see you winning, even if it's on a small scale, because your small wins become areas that builds their trust. Does that make sense? Your small wins, right? Some of y'all, you're like, hey, I'm going to work out, but then your wife saw you quit. You're like, hey, I'm gonna start this business, but your spouse saw you quit. Hey, I'm gonna write this book, but your spouse saw you quit. And then you say, oh, I wanna build this family empire. They're like, yeah, whatever. You keep quitting, and so they're losing trust in you. So from this point on, stop quitting. All right? Stop quitting, because every time you quit, you're losing. You're basically, giving people a reason not to trust you. Like every time you quit, you're giving people a reason not to trust you. Right? You make it harder for them not to trust you. Why do you think it's so easy for your family members to work for McDonald's but not work for you or not work with you? Why? Because one, McDonald's is going to pay them. McDonald's been around. They can trust McDonald's. Trust me, if McDonald's started having issues and they started being late with those paychecks, I guarantee you, your family members will start quitting. Walmart, they'll start quitting. If these companies started having problems and they was no longer able to live up to their end of the bargain, your family will start to quit. Right? The reason why they are working with these people is because they trust them. So you got to understand there's a big trust issue when it comes to family. And one of the ways you overcome that, you overcome it by being a trustworthy person. You got to earn the trust of your spouse, earn the trust of your children. They're going to be skeptical at first, but you have to find creative ways to prove to them. Right? Write down the vision. Say, okay, in the next 10 days, I'm going to accomplish this. In the next 20 days, I'm going to accomplish this. In the next 60 days, I'm going to accomplish this. And share your successes with your family. Whether they're small successes, big successes, share them. When my son made his first $14,000 in 1 week, when he first did that, when they launched the clothing line, I brought him home and I sat my family down and we shared the success. And like, look at what your brother was able to accomplish. And then what do? We also gave them money, right? We gave them money so that they can, so what does that mean? It proves like, hey, when we succeed, y'all succeed. When we get paid, y'all get paid. To show that we're in this together, right? I'm not gonna have money and then you be broke. Get it? So we're gonna share, we share our successes and we share the purse with them. Right? You get that? Share the purse. If you made $1,000, give your spouse some of that money. Give your kids some of that money. Show them that, hey, when I get paid, you get paid. You see what I'm saying? So when I need your help, come work with me, because one can chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to the flight, right? That's what the Bible says for those of you who read the Bible. I love that verse. One can chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 See, you would think that one can chase 1,000 and two, you should be able to do 2,000. But no, it compounds, right? It multiplies. No, two can put 10,000 to a flight. You see the importance of working together? By yourself, you can do X, you can do one, but with your family, you can do a 10X. Wow, right? Grant Cardone wrote a book called the 10X Rule, right? And one, 10X rule is having a partner. And to me, what better partner could there be but a husband and a wife? There's a, yeah, y'all see her there? She's reading the book. She's reading the book while I'm shooting this video, right? She's reading that book because she's working on her own personal development. I'm working on my personal development. These are the things we have to do in order to work together. So remember, your why got to be big enough, and you have to prove yourself so that they can trust you. Don't quit. They got to trust you. The other thing is, and I'm going to end on this, you have to put yourself in a position to be taught. You gotta understand that your spouse wasn't taught this. Her father didn't teach her this. Her mama didn't teach her this. You also have to realize that you didn't really see it often. You look in our communities, you don't really see husbands and wives working like this together. So it's something that we don't normally see. So that means we have to actually search for people who can help us in this area, right? So don't be afraid to get books. Don't be afraid to go online. And when you see husbands and wives working together in their business, building the empire, don't be afraid to get their phone number and contact them and learn from them. Start practicing their advice that they give you. So again, number one, your why got to be big enough. You got to share your why with your family. Second thing is, you have to prove to your family that you can be trusted. When you win, share your wins. Also share the purse. You make $1,000, share some of that with your wife, your husband, your kids. Share it with them, right? Celebrate with them. Let them know why you're celebrating. I'm celebrating because I got that new sale. I'm celebrating because, we made an extra $20,000, right? Celebrate the wins. Another thing, surround yourself with people who can help teach you. Surround yourself with husbands and wives who are actually doing this. Find out how did they sustain the conflict, right? Find out how did they sustain the issues. You got fathers working with their sons. Find out what happened. Find out how did they do it. How did y'all learn how to work together? You see mothers working with their daughters. How are y'all doing this? Pick their brain, read their books, figure out the practical steps that you need to take. Learn from them, right? You're not going to figure it out all by yourself. Learn from them, all right? So that's my talk for today. Family business. Don't listen to the people who say don't work with family, right? Because watch this, none of those people are coming to your rescue. None of those people are coming to the hospital when you get in trouble. None of those people are giving you a loan to buy a house. None of those people are dealing with your family drama. You got to understand that they most likely may not have your best interests at heart, right? But I'm here to let you know your family knows you. Y'all can have these heart-to-heart conversations. You know what I mean? All I know, when push come to shove, your family's at your funeral. Your family is coming to visit you. You know what I mean? All I know is that when a son goes to jail, his mama still visits him. All I know is that, family is pretty, we have our issues, right? We definitely have our issues. But, I tell my kids, ain't nobody gonna love you the way me and your mother love you. It's like Legos. You build 10, kids come along, they start at 10, they go to the higher level. Your grandkids come along, they start at level 20. They don't have to start from ground zero, all right? My name is Samuel Genus with Predict Your Business. I will see you in the next video. Take care.